Hello, and welcome to the hideously messy garage here at headquarters. I am about to embark on a behind-the-scenes thing. Well, actually, I'm about to embark on something which I need to do, and I'm going to make it behind-the-scenes content for you. Before I started, though, I just wanted to give you an even weirder early behind-the-scenes sneak peek, because this guy here is the heat pump that we will be talking about in the heat pump video, which I want to do fairly soon, but I need to wait until it gets cold enough that the outside unit will get frost on it, which it may be now, it might be today, it's right near freezing point, but man, this thing has exceeded my expectations in so many ways. This is actually kind of how my collaboration with Robert of Aging Wheels got started, because he made a video on how to install these things, and I realized that a problem I thought I had, I didn't have, because I didn't realize that this type of mini split, it gets its electrical power from the outside unit, and the inside unit just has a cable going between the two. And that made me realize that it was much easier to solve this problem, solve the problem of getting heat and AC out in the garage, because I thought I would need to get a sub panel installed in the garage, because the only two, there's plenty of electrical outlets in here already. So that was fine, but there's only one circuit, and so the idea of putting in some sort of heating in addition to the electric vehicle charger seemed impossible, but it turns out this solved that problem. But anyway, the only thing that I don't particularly care about it is my own fault, and that is that you hear the outside unit is actually attached on brackets to these two studs, so you can hear some vibration of the unit because it does come through the walls, but that was my own decision. I wanted it off the ground and not on the ground. But it's amazing. It's near freezing outside. It's only set that high because of the fact that there is a garage door on the other side of the room, and a lot of heat leaves through there. And yes, at some point I will have drywall put up for the rest of the garage, but for now it's just this one spot, so that could be installed. And yeah, it's amazing how much heat is coming out of here. I deliberately oversized it because I knew that I would be, I'm not going to have the heat on all the time, and these have variable speed compressors, so you can oversize them without really worrying about performance because they can reduce their output. So right now it's running, based on the sound, pretty close to max, but that's because it's only been set to this temperature for an hour at the most, and it's still heating stuff up in the room. But yeah, just the fact that this is just an air conditioner running in reverse and it's near freezing outside, this air is hot. These really are quite amazing, and I'm excited to make that video. But what today's project is this, a dishwasher. This is the dishwasher that came with the house, and it has gone a little loopy, so I've replaced it. I could probably have replaced its control board, but what it's been doing is it just randomly does not finish a cycle. So I would generally I run the dishwasher when I go to bed, and I would wake up the next morning and find that it had not finished. So I replaced it, and we're going to use this to make a video about dishwashers, because I have one of the main things I want to communicate about dishwashers is the fact that dishwasher detergent packs break the functionality of dishwashers, and let me just explain that. Every dishwasher I've ever encountered has a main wash and a pre-wash, and the purpose of the pre-wash is that you want some detergent, like when you close this, that's just open to a vent, and you want some detergent in the first fill so it can break apart lipids and get some of the fat and junk out of it. And then it will open this during the longest part of the cycle. So if you only put a detergent pack in there, you don't get any detergent in the beginning, and so it can't break down oils. And anyway, it just annoys me to no end that every detergent pack out there bypasses the pre-wash when that's a thing that you're supposed to have. And so I've seen a lot of people complaining that, oh, modern dishwashers don't clean as well, or modern detergents don't clean as well. And in my experience, it's 99% the fact that you're not having that pre-wash detergent, that first fill detergent. And that's one of the things I want to talk about. But more broadly, just talk about how dishwashers work, because they're really incredibly simple things, and I think it would be a good video. But to make the video better, I'm going to install a window so that we can see into this dishwasher as it runs. And that window is simply this piece of glass. This is a 1 foot square glass shelf. It's supposed to be tempered. I was originally going to do plexiglass, but two things happened. One, I ordered black plexiglass and I didn't realize I did that. The picture and the listing was clear, but I did not realize that the actual item was listed as black, so shame on me. But then I realized I probably want it to be actual glass because I can treat this with Rain-X, and hopefully it will be easier to see what's going on, because I realized it's going to get covered in water, and that won't be good. So what I'm going to do is just cut a hole in this side of the dishwasher. It has to be this side because the water inlet is on that side. It could go in the front, like it could go in front of there, but also I want to be able to see into the water inlet. So basically just going to cut a big hole right here, and my hope is to simply use these random nuts and screws that I found to hold the glass in, and then use a bunch of silicone to just seal that up. I don't really need the glass to be held in firmly, so I'm hoping that this will just work, because once the silicone is cured, these will basically just be holding, they'll be a fallback. But yeah, that's what we're doing. Let's get at it. My hair is something, isn't it? Oh, and this is my ironic shirt that I got solely to annoy my brother because he hates PBR, so I bought it just to annoy him. But anyway, my big concern with this is this ridge here, I'm sure, is creating a lot of structural rigidity to the actual box. Now, I don't need it to be that rigid because we're deliberately destroying this and it doesn't work right anyway. But I'm going to need to cut through this, so we'll see how that goes. But my plan is simply to install these screws kind of well enough and see if they will hold the glass. So put the screws in first, then if I did that right, just cut a hole with, inside of those squares, put a ton of silicone on the glass and just put it on the side. So should be pretty straightforward. Just have to see if it actually is. So I'm going to install the two upper screws right in the middle of this, because this is the other kind of problem area, and then the two at the bottom just over 12 inches apart. And then hopefully, I don't have good washers, otherwise I would use them. So I only have a little bit of tolerance in the nut, so wish me luck. That's just eyeballed in the center of that plastic bit. See if these screws will need the hole to be bigger. Because I am unforgivably lazy, I'm just using this giant screwdriver that I have in here. It's handy. Alright, those holes are the perfect size. This is a very dumb screwdriver to be using. It's also a little bit too big as far as the bit size, but kind of making life a little bit harder on myself by putting that in first. Not the smartest idea, that wasn't, but I'm going to put a pilot hole down here and hope that that's right. So like I said, a little more. I want the edges to be just over 12 inches apart. So the hole, let's see. I am being really risky here. So if that's center to center, which we don't want, so we want... You know what, that's probably a great idea. Okay, let's add another screw where have I put all those. This is absolutely ridiculous, I'm aware of that. 100% aware of that. But I am absolutely ridiculous, so what do you expect? Fun fact, I got this screwdriver, I think, or rather I sent my dad to get it when I was like, I don't know, 16, because I bought, I think, a TV at Goodwill or something that had really, really recessed screws, and I actually needed a screwdriver like this to get at them. But it's never ever been needed for a legitimate use case since that time. All right, let's move you and see if that works. Oh no, I'm a dimbo! Ha! Guess who didn't think about the rollers on the sides? Me! Well, that might still be okay. Hang on a second. No, that will not be okay. Oh boy. Well, this is why we try things without... This is why I'm sharing this with you, so that when you need to drill holes in the side of your dishwasher to put a glass panel in for the purpose of making a video, you won't make the same mistake. You might not even be able to see what I'm talking about, but the top screw, can you see it? It's right there. I'll put an arrow. Me, very smart. Okay, the holes have been relocated now. So I want to see. That needs to be backed up. Oh, this is perfect. This is perfect. Like, as perfect as you can get without washers. Very happy about that. So, in fact, there's like no... this is as wide apart as they can be. I can build something up a little bit there, but this will work. So keep that distance exact on the other side, and then it will be held in. Hopefully you get what I'm doing. It'll be held in from the inside by these screws, and then I'm going to put a huge bead of silicone along the edges of the glass, so the inside surface will be clean. And then I'll just do a bead around the three sides. And hopefully that's watertight enough that I can run this. I would like to run it inside on the table. But that's going to be tough either way because I got to get this hooked up to water and drain. So I may end up running it just in the garage and on video and just having it drain outside. But part of what I also want to do is have it drain into a 5-gallon bucket so you can actually get a sense of how much water these use, because it is substantially less than hand washing. Okay, all 4 holes are drilled now. And this will work a treat. Great. That fell into the base of the tub. Great. Anyway, that one is much better positioned. Please tell me you didn't go all the way down. Damn it. Of course. I'm going to get that out and we'll come back to this. Now for the fun part. This is not a variable speed one, and I thought it was. So this is going to be my, where's the drill? If this weren't just plastic, I would find some safety goggles, but I'm not really concerned about it because it's just going to be very soft and melty. I know, bad. Wear your goggles. And one holy dishwasher. Well, one of the nuts rattled off through all that. Luckily it was just this one. But I don't know if you can tell, but there's more. I took apart the bottom more so I could get at the nut. I was wrestling this thing, I had it upside down, shaking it all around. I had my left foot in and my left foot out, and nothing worked. So I had... Why aren't you going on? Okay. Now I'm going to move this. Okay. I now have a clean sheet of glass with a giant bead of silicone all along its edges. Except I got a little bit there. This is an old tube that I luckily rescued because I don't need any precision here. So I'll have to scrape it off later. But here we go. I think I want the thickest bead at the top. It smells like vinegar. Real nice. I think this is how I want it to go. Delicious. So obviously we got a ton of excess coming out. This looks so bad. Misdrilled hole? What misdrilled hole? Okay, so here's my very bad handiwork once the camera focuses on the right stuff. Let's try that. There we go. So obviously there's a ton of overspill except on the right side. I moved the glass a bit, but I'm going to let this cure and then I'm going to cut it out with a razor because I think that'll work better. And then on the inside, that's what happened. I'll boost the ISO a little bit here. So the nuts and bolts are just covered in goop. And the sides, I ran a very sloppy bead up and down the sides. So this is very, very bad. You can't see it. Man, autofocus is just terrible on this camera. There we go. So the bottom I don't really care about because if it leaks it's just going to go back in. But the sides, the back side also has been all schmutzed up. So I'm going to wait for this to dry or cure. There's the inside with the stuff removed. There we go. And yeah, so this is it. So thank you, of course, for watching this behind the scenes video and for your continued support. And we will make the actual video about this in the next few days. So this is apropos of nothing, but since you are here, you can see what it does when it defrosts. because I noticed that it stopped, and yes, indeed, it's covered in frost. So this is one of the big disadvantages of an outdoor heat pump, is that it covers itself in frost. So, because condensate is collecting on that, it's getting ice cold, and it reduces the effectiveness. So what it's done is it's actually now running in cooling mode. And we'll cover all this in the video, but you get an extra early sneak peek. So the indoor fan has stopped. It's going to be reading DF right now. And it's reversed the cycle, so this is now the condenser. High pressure refrigerant is building up in here. And also it is not, it's dark so you can't see it, but it's not running the outdoor fan. So all it's doing is reversing the cycle briefly so it can melt all this ice. And you'll see it happens pretty quickly. And this may end up being useful for B-roll in that video anyway, so cool. You can see how in that section you can actually see the pipes. The ice is completely gone. And there's ice on the entire, all of its surfaces. It's just this side is the one you can see because it's not against the wall. I always find it interesting how quickly this happens. The only thing with this unit, and I don't know if it's because its charge is not quite right or if it just doesn't defrost long enough. You see water's dripping out the bottom now. Is that ice typically will always stay right here. It never melts the bottom before it switches back into heating mode. Pretty amazing, huh? How it's just, and units, this is not a so-called Arctic unit. Some units actually have resistive heating coils built into the condenser, so you could just melt it that way and then recapture that heat back inside. This does not have that, so it does have to periodically reverse the cycle, but it just has to do this for, I don't know, 5 minutes every hour or so. I don't know exactly. If it's really high humidity outside, which it is today, it'll have to do it more frequently. Because even if it's slightly above freezing, the surface temperature of the coils does get below freezing. But before too long, it's going to stop. It's really, I don't know if you can see below there, but it's really dripping water out. It's at night, so this is not ideal. This should also, the other great thing about this technology is how quiet these are. I mean, you can probably tell, but like, it's running, the compressor is running nearly full speed, and you can hardly hear it. It's amazing. But yeah, this is a long defrost cycle. So it's, in a way, it's good to know because I can tell that it has the sensors to determine it is not defrosted yet. And there we go, it just stopped. So after a moment, you're going to see the hoses kind of jerk as it reverses again. And that is the condenser fan, which is turned back on. So there we go, it's back into heating mode. And we'll start the compressor back up and be heating inside again. And there's just a tiny little bit of ice down at the very bottom and I think it's just because water pools up there. There's really nothing it can do. But and because it is so humid, you're probably going to see ice start forming almost immediately. You can already sort of see it on the left. But yeah, it's not running the fan yet because the coil in there got cold. It was pulling some energy back out to melt itself outside. So when it does go into defrost, it shuts the indoor blower off until the inside unit has actually warmed up enough that it can start heating again. So really clever and well thought out. And this will heat. I don't think it can get this garage to 74 when it's near 0 degrees Fahrenheit. 5 degrees is what it's rated to work down to, but the efficacy does start to drop off pretty rapidly once you get below freezing. But still, heat pumps are great. There we go, just turn the blower back on. And yeah, this air it's not very warm yet, but it's a little bit warmer than ambient, so it's doing its job. Neat.